Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Travel and Lifestyle Conversations. I missed you last week. Did you miss us? We missed you too. So, we are thrilled. I'm thrilled to have a very, very special guest. She is just breaking barriers, you all. She is bridging the gap. She's amazing. Her name is Martinique Lewis. And look, y'all, I have a cheat sheet, okay? Because this show, I'm definitely going to bring you some TLC for sure. I have a cheat sheet because Martinique has so many accolades. She is a powerhouse. So let me tell you just how great she is. She is a travel consultant that specializes in diversity in travel. She's the founder and president of Black Travel Alliance, the creator. If you all saw on my social media, she created the ABC Travel Greenbook, amazing book we're going to talk about later on in the show. She's also a board member on Condé Nast, and she created the lead. She's the creative lead for No Madness Travel Tribe. Again, she is a powerhouse, an amazing woman. I am going to bring in her Marty. I'm gonna bring Marty into the show. Here she is. I'm gonna unmute you for. Oh, thank you, Marty. She unmute. Hey, Marty.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm excellent. How are you? And thank you for having me on the show.
I am wonderful. So, Marty, what did I miss? Because we have a lot of greatness here. What did I miss?
You didn't miss anything. I think for the most part that was all correct. So yeah, you're right. You're right where you needed to be. That was
I
perfect.
love it. I love it. Okay, so Marty, everyone is excited to talk about this book. Everyone, we're gonna talk about this great book we have here because definitely I had to purchase it. But first, give us a little information, a little background on who you are.
Yeah, so like you said, I'm Martinique Lewis, born and raised in Oakland, California. Went to school in North Carolina and Georgia, and originally was in the fashion industry. And I was just tired of working for somebody else. And I knew for a long time, like, this is, yes, what I'm skilled in, but I was trying to figure out for the longest time, what am I passionate about? What am I passionate about? What am I passionate about? I know I was passionate about service. I know I was passionate about kids. I know I was passionate about travel. And so this came about because I'm passionate about people, but even
Mm,
more so about advocating for people within the travel space. But not only that, telling those stories that have been left untold. And so for me, I initially first moved into the Black travel space, and then I got to be a diversity and travel consultant because I realized that more people than just Black people were feeling left out. We weren't the only ones not seeing ourselves in travel advertisements and promotions. Muslim travelers are feeling the same way, plus size travelers, blind travelers. Everybody was feeling like they're not speaking to me. And so that's when I realized that I was really doing my life's work, when my job didn't feel like work anymore. And
mm.
that's how I got to this point. But yeah, I said Martinique Lewis, born and raised in Oakland. I love to travel, obviously. I love family. I love culture. I love to cook. I love to run. There's so many different things, but yeah, all of those things encompass who I am and what makes me. So
I love it. I love to run too. So, the next time, by the way, let's tell everybody where you are now. Because like you said, you're from Oakland, but you are
yes.
not based in Oakland right now.
No, I'm based in London, England, and I have been here for about a year. Um, and yeah, so I love London. London is one of my favorite places. So yeah, I am based in London, England.
How did you get to London?
Yeah, it's so funny because I was talking to my therapist today, and he kept asking me like, "So why do you love London?" I was like, "Well, let me tell you about this love story." But I went to school here in 2008, and I went to the London College of Fashion, and at the time there was this program, study abroad program, and they had did a grant for HBCU fashion students. So it was kids from North Carolina A&T, University of Maryland Eastern Shore, and Howard University. And if you could imagine, we came in and we were there with people from Gonzaga, University of Connecticut, Brown University, like all of these top tier universities. Here we are, these Black girls from these HBCUs. And I can remember at the time, it's very hard to get high markings or what we consider A's or B's in London. I remember first day of school, like our teachers were like, don't even try for an A because we don't give those out here. And I'm like, what? And so like I worked so hard, I ended up getting straight A's, you know,
Oh,
that
wow.
semester.
Impressive.
You need to do that and be the only one and to be this Black girl from Oakland, California, from North Carolina A&T. It was just something really, really big. But that was the first time that I really got to experience myself outside of America, where I really got to be introduced to some new cultures, where I really got to meet people from everywhere. I really started to understand like how fashion is all over the world and how you can see fashion in everything. And so from that moment, I always loved London. And then ever since then, I've been coming back and forth, meeting amazing people, creating a whole community here. And that's how I ended up here. I know London is a place where I want to raise my children, where, you know, I want to be my part, like, you know, so London for me is my next phase of life. And so, yeah, it helped me be able to, you know, get here now.
Well, Marty, see, the people are weighing in like, they're saying you dope, you're dope. Ty says you dope. You know, William here says Aggie Pride.
That's
Like,
right.
yeah,
Aggie Pride is everywhere. It's so funny.
yes.
Even when I studied here, we met an Aggie, and wherever you are in the world, when you meet an Aggie, there's nothing like Aggie Pride. Literally. We were like so poor because at the time the British pound to the US dollar was 2 to 1. So anytime I spent $100, it was only 50 pounds. And we were just so poor. And we went to this cookout. And there was this guy there who was in the army, and he's like, yeah, I'll graduate from A&T. What do y'all need? And then like ever since then, it's so funny because almost 10 years later, I was in London and there was another young lady studying abroad from A&T. And I was like, where can I take you? Like, can I buy you some groceries? Let me take you out to eat. You know what I mean? It's just like, that is the spirit of every Aggie. So yes, Aggie Pride is worldwide, not just nationwide, but worldwide.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, so everybody, just as a reminder, yes, it's Marty and I are having a conversation, but please bring your comments, bring your questions. Let's all pick Marty's brain today. So, Marty, let's go back to the fact of being a travel consultant and let everybody understand what that means. And people may or may not know, but you kind of are dubbed as the connector among your peers. Yeah. How did you get that name? That's a nickname. So there's like two questions in one here.
Yeah. So when I say I'm a diversity and travel consultant, it's always a good question. People are like, well, what does that mean? Because people are like, are you a travel agent? I'm like, I'm far from it. So what I do is I teach travel brands and tourism boards how to market to inclusive communities online. So what does that mean? Visit Florida, visit England, Holiday Inn, the Hilton, Avis Rent-A-Cars. I teach them how to understand the traveling patterns of African Americans, of Mexican Americans, of the LGBTQ plus community, so that they can change their marketing so it reflects us, so that we see ourselves reflected. Because if you look around, even sea level, everything was like run by old white men, to be honest, right? That's who was in the good old boys club, right? There might have been some women, but people of color, you wouldn't have found it. So I go in and I teach them how to market to us and how to also understand who we are as travelers. There's not a lot of people in this space who do that. I've created this lane basically and made it, you know, my own, but been able to go and really be able to be effective in it, especially after the unfortunate death of George Floyd, when everybody was screaming diversity and inclusion. You know, these same people who didn't want to talk to me 2-3 years ago are now knocking down my door to say, how can we be more diverse? How can we be more inclusive? So it's not only me teaching them how to do this externally, but internally also. So the 13 HBCUs that have a travel and tourism program that you can go and directly recruit from, so that you have somebody on your internal team who looks like me. You can say, this is not a good idea. Black people don't like that, or this is not a good idea. People in wheelchairs don't think that way when they're booking travel. So yeah, I'm able to go in and not only give advice for how to change externally, but internally as well. And then dubbed as a connector, just because I used to be everywhere. Like in 2018, 2019, you would never catch me in one country. I was literally traveling from place to place to place, and I would be making all these connections. So if Alaska Air was like, we need a travel influencer, who was sustainable, because I'm the diversity consultant and I can tell you like this is who you should work with, I would connect them directly with somebody like, oh, here's this travel influencer who talks about sustainability. Oh, you want a travel influencer, who is plus size, like here, this is who you should talk to. Oh, you want a community of French speaking Africans, here, this is the community that you can go to. So that's kind of how I got dubbed at that, because I was always able to connect the dots.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome. So, I think I just lost my train of thought. Oh, yes. So, how did you get this bug, this traveling bug? When did that all start?
I tell people I was born with it. There's a travel gene that is really there that scientists came up with, and I tell people I definitely have it. I come from a family of travelers. My grandmother was an immigrant from Panama, and she came here and was in New York first, and then made her way to California. So one side is from Panama, the other side is from Tennessee. So us being in California, always traveling. My mom made sure that her kids were always somewhere, whether it was internationally or domestically. My father worked for the airline, so we had those free passes to travel wherever we wanted to. So, I always tell them, besides the gift of being a parent, the best thing you did for us for sure was, working for the airlines, because it got us from A to Z. So when we were very young, we were taking international trips. My mom made sure every 2 years, every 3 years, we was getting passport stamps. She made sure that we traveled within the United States. So I'm just grateful to have two parents who felt that way.
Right. Now, I know you mentioned earlier the unfortunate death of George Floyd, but how do you think that you realize the importance of diversity inclusion in the travel industry? When did you realize the importance of it?
I always noticed that I never saw myself reflected. So like I am a big airline magazine junkie. I used to love reading airline magazines. I used to love watching in-flight entertainment. So when I would go and I wouldn't see a talk show host who looked like me, or every time you showed a black man, he was always with a white woman, or you wouldn't see black women at all. You wouldn't see black men at all. You wouldn't see a full black family. You wouldn't see Asians. You wouldn't see Mexicans. You wouldn't see Muslims. And I'm like, this is not reflective of who's on this plane right now.
Right,
I mean, so I'm like, what? And or when it would be tourism boards showing somebody enjoying their location, was always white people. And I used to be like, this is not a direct representation of who's actually going to these places. So like I said in the beginning, I was going so hard for Black travel. And then I went to a travel conference called the Women in Travel Summit. And I remember telling people like, this is my mission. This is what I set out to do. And then there was a Muslim woman who was like, well, do you ever think about what I go through when I got to go through TSA just because of how I look, or how people think I'm a terrorist whenever I get on the plane? I'm just like, never thought about it. Or there was an autistic traveler who's like, do you ever think what I have to do when I'm just planning dinners? If there's a restaurant flashing lights, that sends me into a seizure. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, it's not just me, it's other people out here who also feel like nobody is thinking about me, even though I have these dollars to spend. And at the time, at that time, I think Black people were spending 50 million on travel annually, but now we spend 109.4. So it's like, why aren't you talking to us? Muslim travelers spend more than anybody in the travel space. Why don't you see anybody with a hijab on? You know what I mean? It's just like, there are all of these things that are happening. And it's like, are you guys blind? And so, that's when I really realized like somebody needs to advocate for it, because nobody's holding the travel industry accountable. So I was going around for 2 years, going to different travel conferences, sitting on the front row, dressed to the nines, the Black girl with the question, and saying, what are you doing about diversity and inclusion? And they couldn't answer my question, or they would try to go around it. So a lot of people be like, nobody's ever asked us that before. We never realized that it was a problem. Well, yeah, because you never looked around. You realize now that all you see is yourself. So how is that effective to make sure that you're bringing all type of travelers, or saying to everybody, we want you here. We want you on our airplane. We want you in our destination. We want you in our hotel. So yeah, that is basically how I got started.
Wow, very powerful. And so as we are seeing times changing, and we're kind of coming up where we're seeing this Black travel movement, I would like to say you're contributing to that. So what else are you seeing in this Black travel movement, you think?
Oh, I love the Black travel movement so much. it is the reason why Black people are traveling now. Whenever I have to talk about the Black travel movement and its growth within the past 10 years, you started off with very few Black travel journalists. Now you have tons. You started off with maybe one Black travel movement, No Madness, who celebrates 10 years actually this month.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
Where Evita Robinson is the founder, and she was a teacher in Asia, and she wanted a community of people who looked like her. And that's another thing, like Black travel movement is so many different people, right? It is that community of teachers, Black teachers who are in Asia or who are in Qatar or who are in Abu Dhabi, right? It's also the Black skiers who, nobody, thinks about are there, or the Black boating crew, or the Black mountain climbers, or the Black mountaineers, the Black rock climbers. Like there's so many, the Black surfers, there's so many different groups now. And a lot of that is because of social media. Now you can find people who look like you, who want to do what you do also, but even more so because of this generation, because we have everything at our fingertips. We can see a picture of somebody in Seychelles, save it out to our Instagram or save it in our Facebook and be like, this is where I want to go. Or you do have those Facebook groups like No Madness or, Black Travelgram, that are there so that you can basically travel as a Black traveler and see, did you face any discrimination? Where did you stay? Was there Black owned businesses there? And there's so many different Facebook groups now that can assist you, Black travel movement, that can assist you on being a Black traveler. So it has become so much more easy for us now to do it. But the Black travel movement has just spiraled, since different social media communities have been built.
So I agree, and I am happy that this Black travel movement is taking place. And sometimes, what some people may say, well, why didn't it happen a long time ago? Why is it taking so long? Would you agree with that? And what do you think? And why maybe it had to happen when a life or two or three was lost?
Yeah, so the Black travel movement in America didn't start for a while because we just didn't have the education necessarily to go. But people don't understand it's also rooted in systematic racism back into the 40s or 50s, something that was called price gouging. So a white family would show up to a hotel, they tell you it's $30 a night. A Black family would show up, it's $300 a night. Once the Black people who started being in the middle class, who could travel, right, back then in their cars, you couldn't stop in certain places. That's why the original Green Book was there, because we couldn't stop as Black people because there were things like sundown towns, or you had to worry about discrimination, or when Black people who were elite could hire a travel agent, they would only show them the Caribbean. They would never show them Europe, Africa, and Asia. They would only show them the Caribbean. So that's why you saw for the longest time Black people going to Jamaica, Black people going to Trinidad, Black people going to St. Lucia, St. Vincent, but you never saw them going to London. You never saw them going to Paris, never saw them going to Germany. And that's because of discrimination even within the travel agency now, right? Or our parents, they don't come from a generation where they have passports. We're the first generation to have passports.
Right.
All things, as time is evolving to really go around. My mom had a passport early when she was in her 20s, but my mom is the only person, one of the only people I know in her age group who was traveling internationally at her age back in the 70s. So you know what I'm saying? Like it just wasn't common back then. But like I said, because of social media, because more Black people are starting to take the leap, because people are getting married later and they're like, I'm going to live my life for myself. Let me go. Let me do this, because there are these opportunities now that are available, overseas for Black teachers to go and experience a different part. And people are starting to write about it, and they're starting to become blogs about it. People are opening their minds about where we can go as Black travelers. So that's how you saw the actual uptick. But yeah, it's so much science behind it. People have no idea. I'm like, oh, it's systematic. Oh, it has to do with money. Oh, it has to do with generations and what they were doing. Our parents might have been taking, cross-country trips, but they weren't going out of the country. So, or if they were going on cruises. Back then, you didn't need a passport. All you needed was a birth certificate. So now when they say, oh, you need a passport, people don't know how to get it. People don't know. It's $75 at the post office. So it's just lack of education. But now we have it all. So we can do what we need to do.
Right. And definitely, to your point, social media is huge. I mean, social media, you click, it's almost like a click and go. Click and go. And let me remind everybody who's coming in, we have Marty Lewis with us. She specializes in diversity and travel, because she is a travel consultant. And we are so happy that You are here with us. So let's just continue the conversation. Oh, by the way, everyone, please leave a comment, ask a question. As a matter of fact, I think we have a question here, Marty. So let me go ahead and pull it up
Okay.
and then we'll get back. Okay, here's a question. What are some of your favorite destinations for solo Black travels, both male and female? Good question.
Anywhere you want to go. Like, I say the same thing for people who have kids. Like, if there's kids in that destination, you could take your kids to that destination. You have to be comfortable traveling with yourself. That's the biggest thing. Are
Mm,
you comfortable going by yourself? Because if you are, you can have a blast anywhere you go. Um,
mm.
some of my favorite solo trips was Brussels. Um, where else have I been by myself? Amsterdam. Gosh, like, and for me, solo travel is so powerful because I can actually hear myself think for once,
Yeah.
right? I don't have to answer nobody. I don't have to wake up at any time. I don't have to go to sleep at any time. I don't have to eat anytime. It's literally me on my own schedule and how I want to do stuff. So I tell people all the time, take the solo trip. It is so, so important just for your mental and for you being comfortable again with yourself or really figuring out who you are because you don't know who you have to be until you at a place where you can't speak the language, but you got to figure out how to get to your hotel from the airport, right? So it's all of these things that you start to learn about yourself as you are solo traveling. So yeah, I would say anywhere. Anywhere.
So I took a solo trip. I actually went to Thailand a few years ago and I was there for work, but I extended the trip. So
Yeah.
I ended up going to Phuket and it was like with that eat, pray, love experience.
Yeah.
I loved it. I enjoyed, but I will tell you this. I feel like I was on the phone FaceTiming with somebody regularly because I wanted to share the experience with
Gotcha.
someone. I'm one of those, like, I enjoyed it. You were right. For my mental wake up when I want, move what I want, but I wanted to be able to enjoy that experience with somebody else. Do you have those moments where you are on an amazing trip and you like, you know what? How can I wish I was enjoying this with somebody else?
No. Sorry. But no, what I will do because I'm around some people who are like, send me pictures, send me videos. I want to see. But I'm telling you, I like that piece. I like that piece, And I'm just like, if I was meant to be here with somebody, I will come back with that person. Or the next trip we take, it'll be me and that person. But yeah, no, I don't, girl. Mm-mm, mm-mm.
You like to rock solo. I get it. I like to have somebody there.
I I
So
normally don't go on solo trips. I'm normally it's definitely with somebody, but when I do have those moments, I definitely cherish them.
okay, okay,
Mhm.
okay, everyone. Where are the questions? Great question that came from, I believe, Kristen Bell. Where are the questions? Where are the comments? We are here with Marty Lewis, diversity and travel consultant. So, what's the question I have for you next? Oh, yeah, I'm excited to talk about this. Tell us more about the Black Travel Alliance. You founded what in 2020? I mean, the height of the pandemic. Tell us about the Black Travel Alliance,
Yeah,
please.
I co-founded it with 17 other Black travel professionals. We all are what they call the media, so travel influencers, travel journalists, photographers, videographers, and basically we were just tired of the industry after Blackout Tuesday saying Black Lives Matter. We're like, how? When you don't hire us, or when you do, you don't pay us as much as you pay our white counterparts. We don't have the same equal opportunity that everybody else does, but all of a sudden Black Lives Matter will prove it. We haven't seen ourselves anywhere on your profiles. You see what I'm saying? You don't hire us to come in and tell our stories. You don't even tell our stories, not even February for Black History Month. So we started the Black Travel Alliance so that we could advocate for people who are also in media, so that people can get those positions, so that we can see ourselves reflected a lot more. We were founded on alliance and amplification. And so, yeah, and accountability, making sure somebody's holding the industry accountable. We've been able to do some amazing things. We've won all types of awards. We
Hmm.
have been able to publish, the Black Traveler Study that lets people know about Black travelers, what we do, where we want to go, and not only in America, because normally that's just a report that's been put out about Black Americans, but now you have Black Canadians, Black Germans, Black British, Black people in Africa. You have the whole scope so that more people can really understand. But we've been able to do so many things. We are going into our second year now, and we are so proud of the work that we've been able to do. We've been able to give out scholarships, something that has never been done before. $5,000 scholarships to individuals or to Black travel companies, and so we're super proud of the work that we've done. Like I said, we've won a host of awards, and we're only a year old. And it can only get better from now. We have about over 600 members. We're looking for that number to grow. And we're just super proud of the work that we're doing, but understand that the work is not done and that it'll continue. And, we want the Black Travel Alliance to be around when our great-great-grandkids are around.
Absolutely.
To serve as something like the NAACP, but for Black travel professionals, and making sure that people have a space where they feel safe, where they feel like somebody is actually working on their behalf, where they want to make a difference so that they can help the next generation that comes after them.
What more do you think, if you could, while we're here on this platform, like what more can people like myself and others do to help the Black Travel Alliance mission?
We always are taking donations. Also, if you have a platform or if you know people who want to be part of a community who need better opportunities, the BTA is for that. You can even volunteer. You can become a member. A membership is free. You can add resources that you think other Black travel professionals might need. But yeah, there's always room for more people and for more people to just be excited and to come and to help how they see fit.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so again, everyone, where are the questions? Where are the comments? Bring them. We are here with Marty Lewis, again, diversity and travel consultant. So let's move on. What's so exciting about this next topic we're going to talk about the ABC Travel Greenbook. Oh my God, you all. If this is the topic you've been waiting to come, or this is what you've been waiting for, we are here. We are here. Okay, Marty, you have to tell us more about this, yellow pages of information for, I'm going to say anybody, not just Black and brown, but for anybody who is interested in learning more about just African Americans, the cultures, communities across the world. Tell us about this book that you created.
Yeah, like I was saying, I was traveling all over the world, and every time I would go someplace, I would seek out the Black community. So the Black community in places that you wouldn't normally think that Black communities are there, because you've never heard of their story, because their stories are not in the history books, because you won't find it in the museum, because you're not going to find it on the tourism board's page. And so, I was having all these encounters, and I'm like, if I didn't know this was here and I consider myself an avid traveler, I know other people don't know. The thing about it is, when we travel as Black people, no matter if we're from England, no matter if we're from Uruguay, no matter if we're from Pakistan, we want to see people who look like us in these destinations, but we don't know how to find it because that information isn't anywhere. So I decided to compile all the resources I knew of, all the information I had, and put it in a book. And so that came in the form of the ABC Travel Greenbook. Now, I definitely was inspired by Victor Hugo Green, who did the original Negro Motorist Greenbook that was around between the 1930s and 1960s. Like I was talking about before, this is what our grandparents and our parents used to drive up and down Route 66 to know this is where the Black bank is, this is where the Black service station is, this is where the Black hotel is, so you can know where to stay and be safe at that time. So even though safety in terms of us losing our life is not necessarily an issue, we still want to know where we can go to be safe. Also, if I'm coming to England, I want to know who can braid my hair. If I'm going to Japan, I want to know where I can get some soul food. If I'm going to Amsterdam, I want to know about Amsterdam Black women and that they go on a brunch every Saturday, right? I want to know where else done in South Korea, because Black people have businesses some everywhere. So that's why I created the ABC Travel Greenbook, because we can find stuff about America on Google. It's easy to type in Black owned New Orleans, Black owned San Francisco, Black owned New York, but can you type in Black owned Athens? And is something going to pop up? If you type in Black owned Bahia in Brazil, it's going to come up in Portuguese. So you don't know Portuguese, so you don't know exactly what's there. So I'm trying to help alleviate that with the ABC Travel Greenbook. Now, that was the first edition that came out. Right now, we're working on an app and working on a children's book, which I am so excited about. drops in November, but it's the same thing. It's to teach your kids now that Black people are everywhere. So the first one is about the Americas. So it takes you through the Black communities in North America, Central America, and South America for children to know. Yes, there's Black people in Peru. Yes, there's Black people in Uruguay. Yes, there's Black people in Ecuador. Yes, there's Black people in Belize. And I'm so excited because I want our babies to understand. I want them to know,
Yeah.
like, people aren't here. We're literally everywhere. We're all across the world. So yeah, that is super exciting. Like I said, dropping in November, and then 2020, it will be the excuse me, the ABC Travel app. And so that way it'd be a lot easier because, of course, we're going through a global pandemic right now. We're not sure who's going to last. I'm not sure how many people in the book are still around because obviously I can't make it to all those places. But looking forward for people to be able to say this is still not open or this is open, and to be able to do that in the app. So it's going to serve as kind of like a TripAdvisor, a Yelp, and like a almost like a Facebook all put together in one app.
Oh, great. You saw the comment. It says, can't wait for the kids book for
Yes.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the app. Can't wait for the app. So I
Yeah.
want to ask you a question because, like you said, you haven't been everywhere, but we're gonna find out exactly where you've been and how many places you've been. How were you able to compile all the information, especially not going anywhere and not being able to speak those languages in different parts of the world? How did you
Well,
compile
so
everything and put into that one book?
I was able to go to a lot of places. I will say that, and a lot of it has been just my personal experiences when I'm in different places. But again, these Facebook groups,
Mm,
without Facebook, Instagram, Google, and just peer recommendations, I wouldn't have been able to compile the book. It took about 2 years
mm.
to get the information that I did get, and there's so much more information that needs to go into it. But like I said, there are these Facebook groups, and not just the ones in America. You know, there's Sisters of Australia and New Zealand. You know, there's Black expats in Korea and South Korea. There's Black expats in Qatar. All of these groups I became a part of, and I started just viewing the groups for a year or typing in,
Hmm.
Black owned stuff to see which businesses were there to understand this is how women are getting, their shea butter. This is how women
Right.
their curl put in, like making sure like, okay, there's this African grocery store here, there's this African braiding shop. And so I was compiling information. The reason I say Facebook and Instagram is because the algorithms will support you. So if I liked one Black nail shop in Scotland, it's going to show me the other Black nail shop in Scotland. And when I go in
Mhm.
there, if I follow them, it's going to show me the Black braiders. If I go there and follow them, it's going to show me the Black owned hotel. If I go there, it's going to show me. So literally like working through the algorithms. But if people can only imagine, it's hours and hours of my time. Thank God I was still doing it when the quarantine hit, right? Because
Right.
all at home. So I'm like, the quarantine 2020 for me wasn't a bad year. It was actually an amazing year because I was able to focus and bring more energy into the ABC Travel Greenbook and really do what I set out to do. Because 2 years before that, I had pitched it at a pitch competition. I won. And so they helped me start. But you get lazy at times. You're finding
Hmm.
the show, you're like, I'm so tired of not being able to read these different languages. But then, somebody on the ground would be like, hey, I speak the language. I live here.
Wow.
I can help you with all this. So like literally it was 2 years of trying to compile the information and really try to figure out this is how I can do X, Y, and Z.
Wow. Um, so let me put this is so people are going to want to know where can they get this book? Is this right? The abctravelnetwork.com.
Yes.
Okay, this is where now, Marty, it was this self-published?
Yes.
Wow.
So
Self-published.
yeah, I remember going to a travel conference and my homegirl Jen, she had a whole forum on how to self-publish on Amazon. And I said, people can do that because literally this was my issue with putting out the green book. I was like, I don't have enough funding to be able to come out with 10,000 books. And then I don't understand how to sell it. But Amazon has this amazing program where as long as you format it correctly, you upload your book cover, you can create any type of book you want. And that's a blessing on its own. I tell people all the time, if you said you wanted to be an author, if you said you wanted to publish a book before the age of 40, do it. If you said you want to write a book about this, do it, because Amazon makes it so easy for you. So I took my little classes, I hired help so that people can help me understand exactly how to set up a book on Amazon. But like literally it has been lifesaver. And so yeah, I self-published. The book has done extremely well. Thank you to everybody. It's been picked up on every single network. So many people wrote about it and continue to write about it. People continue to buy the book, and people are just excited, as I am. Of course, we're not all traveling as much as we can, but for a
Right.
lot of people, I'm like, explore these places right here in your backyard. Support this Black owned group right here that's already,
It's
support this
true.
Black owned hotel. It's just like, go to these places, be able to do the stuff that I, recommend in the book right there in your own hometown. So yeah,
Right.
it has sparked a lot of that. But like I tell people, I didn't write the green book for myself. I wrote it for the people who are included in it, because we want to support Black businesses. We want to keep the Black travel dollar circulating. If there is, Alex Roca in Colombia, and he does the Real Cartagena tours, he tells you all about the Black community in Colombia. That's who I want you to go to. If you're going to Amsterdam, take Jennifer Tosh's Black Heritage Tour. If you're going to Lisbon, take Naki's African Lisbon tours. If you're going to Paris, there's 3 different Black Paris tour, 4 for you to take, and I want people to know that. Tony in England for London, go take his. I wanted people to know that information, understand where we came from, understand that we didn't only get to places because of slavery, understand that we got to places because we were explorers too, and this is now the remnant of those people. If you go to Ecuador, go to the northern hemisphere, because the Esmeraldas are there. Well, how did the Esmeraldas get there? Explorers, right? And you go there, there's people who look like you in Ecuador.
Yes.
What? Yes, we're there. You know what I mean? And I wanted people to understand that, but I also wanted people to go and have those experiences, because there's nothing like that. There is nothing like those experiences of seeing somebody who looks like you in a place that is unexpected. You might not be able to even speak the same language, but you can still break bread over food. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
You can still swim in the ocean with them. They can still make you a meal. And it was happening everywhere that I was going. I just wanted other people to have that same experience.
Uh, and you know what? Again, the ABC Travel Greenbook.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the website. Everyone go that's logged on now. Go by ABC Network, travelnetwork.com. Like she said, self-published on Amazon. And I know many of you got Amazon Prime. So you can have it at your door in the next couple of days, because I had it at my door in the next couple of days. And once I opened it, I love everyone, if you saw my post, but I love Paris. I just love Paris. And to flip through the page and go to, I lost the page. I should have held on to it, Marty. But to go to the page where Paris was listed, and then there was a website to tell me where I can go basically the next time I travel to Paris, and I want to get that culture. I want to find out where I can get my nails done. I want to find out where I can get my braids done. I want to find out a Black-owned restaurant. I clicked on the website and I was amazed just where I could go just to get more culture, more African-American culture and history. So everyone, I highly encourage you to get this book, and let's take this on our travels. It's not just international as well. Like she said, it's domestic. So let's get the book, get out there, and tag Marty with, let me put your Instagram up here, Marty.
The book also has a Facebook and an Instagram. It's just ABC Travel Greenbook. So you can tag that also.
Okay, so everybody, you heard her. She said the ABC Travel Greenbook when you're on your travels, because I'm struggling trying to find our fonts here. There we go. And then maybe I should remove the other one. There we go. Okay, so what else we have for you, Marty? Oh, yes. So what's new and exciting happening? Now, I know you told us about the upcoming children's book as well as the app. Is there anything we can expect to see coming from you, Marty?
Nothing that I can talk about. So I just say, watch this space.
No.
Is watch this space. A lot of people got NDAs going around, but God has really blessed me. It has really made the overall ABC Travel Network something that my kids will live off of, my grandkids, my great grandkids. I didn't expect it to be what I wanted it to be, right? And it's so funny because I tell people all the time, don't ask for something if you're not ready for it, right? Don't ask for something without really believing that you can truly get it. And everything that I said that I wanted this brand to be, it is, and more, and I'm a big manifester. I'm a big prayer. I'm a big writing down my goals and figuring out how to get to them. And yeah, everything I said that I wanted to do, I've been able to do by the grace of God and great connections and people like you all who have really supported me. So yeah, just, like I said, watch this space.
And you know what, Marty, I wanted to talk to you about that because when you and I had a conversation the other day so quickly, I loved just the way your thought process is, and that's the believe. I believe in the law of attraction and manifestation as well. And at times like this, we really, it's so necessary to remain positive and optimistic. How can you encourage people? I mean, because what you're doing is magnificent, but also it takes us to really go to a place where we can still push out a book during a pandemic, like you said, which turned out to what seems like a negative situation turned into something positive. So, how can you continue to uplift people who may have a book in mind and is sitting over there in a corner, an idea that they haven't launched yet?
Yeah, now is the time. Now is the time. And the thing about it is, like I said, social media makes it so easy for us to have accessibility to the resources that we need and for free, right? There's an Amazon book club on social media, how to write children's books and publish them on Amazon. That's a whole Facebook group, right? Of plenty of successful people. You can YouTube everything you want to see these days, anyways, where how to get from A to Z. So use those resources. And I tell people all the time, like, understand, like, the grind is not going to cheat you. If you put in that work, there's going to be so many things that you are rewarded from, but you have to put in the work. And I'm like, if we can watch clickbait on Netflix, right, or for blood and water on Netflix,
Or startup,
or I mean, like, whatever is popping right now on Netflix, you have time to also research those things you want to do. And it's even if you only do 1 hour a day, that's 7 hours a week. You see what I'm saying? Like, that helps you throughout the whole time. And you just have to be committed to it. But not only that, if you just focus for 1 month, you just focus for 2 months, you just focus for 3 months, you can get something done and it could be amazing. And that's the thing, like with the Green Book, I had to really sit there and focus. But not only that, I did all my own marketing, I did all my own PR, and I just pulled on the resources that I had around me. And that's what I'm saying, like, use what you have, literally use what you have to get what you need to get. And people will support that because people believe in Marty more than they even know about the ABC Travel Greenbook, right? They see me hustling, grinding for years to the point where they still want to support me. And I'm super, super grateful for that. And so many people who who I don't even know have supported me. I walk in people's houses and they have the Green Book up and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I was like, that is wild to me because I'm like, yeah, I got the Green Book right here. It's right here. It's under my pillow at night. But just to see that somebody else really, really is banging or rocking with me like that. So yeah, find your community of people who are going to hold you accountable, write your goal down, put an actual date on it and do what you got to do. But all it takes is like focusing for 30 days and then continue to go. And, I listen to a lot of Les Brown and Will Smith and a lot of videos to really, really help keep me motivated and pump me up because I understand, like, during COVID, we didn't have that. And we were going crazy within our four walls and really having to figure out how to pivot. But yeah, listen to motivational videos. Like I said, I'm a runner and then coming back and finishing my work, So it really is carving out that time and really believing that you can do something, but find that community, especially now, because there's so many different communities that have come up due to, quarantine. So
I want to give people the example of like how something that you had a vision of or you put on your vision board or you wrote it out and then it manifested. Like, let's talk about this, just say the ABC Travel Greenbook. When was that on your list or on your goal list and then it happened, it came to fruition?
So there wasn't necessarily a ABC Travel Greenbook, but there was that I wanted to create a resource that would globally inspire travelers everywhere.
Okay.
So book, right? I said that I wanted to impact travel like never before. The Green Book did that. So it wouldn't be necessarily things specifically that would be like the ABC Travel Greenbook. No,
right.
But it was like create a global resource that will go, or like diversity and inclusion at the top, or be seen as a leader and a change maker within the travel industry. I said that, and I've been listed as travel's most influential people, not only by Travel Post, but by, Travel and Leisure. So it's like I put those things up there, not understanding exactly like the actual way it was going to come, but then it came. And I'm like, this is what that meant. Or I would have destinations on there, things that I had no clue where they were. I didn't even know how to pronounce them. And then I'd be walking, past something. I'd be like, where have I seen this before? And I was like, it was on my vision board. This exact country was on my vision board in 2016. At the time, I didn't even know what it was. So it always happens like that. And I'm so, so grateful for it. And William, thank you so much for supporting me. I appreciate it. But yeah, so it literally it's what you think. And yes, be as specific as you can as possible, but sometimes you don't know, right? Like sometimes you're like, I
Mm-hmm.
know I want to make a difference, I just don't know how. But then it makes sense when once it happens, you're like, yeah, I had this on my vision board. So
Wow.
as long as you lead with those ideas, they will happen. They really do happen.
I love it. Okay, so we're coming to like the final question. I mean, see how we could just talk, and then everything is almost time. That hour's almost up. And I forgot, like everybody, if they notice, like you are in London right now, and if y'all notice this bright day here, and it's 10 o'clock at night. So we got to show Marty some love, y'all. So go buy the book like William did. Uh, because she is on. Go buy the book. Here's where you can buy the book because she is on with us, and it's almost 11 o'clock her time. Okay, Marty, and if you have a question or a comment, please let us know. Um, Name some places on your bucket list that you want to visit.
So I don't have no bucket list destination.
What?
Nah, because I'm like, I'll make it there. They're not bucket list. I'll make it there eventually. So places just on my list of places to go. I want to explore the islands of Africa. So like Mauritius,
Mm.
Seychelles, Lamu, Kenya, because people show Santorini all the time. They show the Maldives, but they don't show the beauty of Africa. And I want to visit every single country in Africa that I can visit. Literally, I'm like, all 50 foot. Let's go. I'm like, yep, I'm ready to do it. I'm ready to do it now. All parts of Africa. Right now, I think I've only done 4, but I'll do 5 next month. But
Where
yeah,
you going? Where you going
yeah,
next
I'm going
month?
to Ghana. I'm going to Ghana finally.
Oh,
On 2019 and end up not making it. But I want to go now. Before everybody comes in December, I want to go in October first, so I could like kind of have it to myself without all of the extra, and then I'll go back in December when everybody is going to. I want to explore Africa. Africa is the one continent that is so rich in everything, where you can get rainforest, where you can get desert, where you can get the islands and the beautiful oceans. Like you can get everything from Africa. And I was like, we don't put Africa on enough. And it is the most beautiful continent in the world where you can experience so much. And so, yeah, for me, Africa is on that list. Like once I get through all 54 countries, then I'll choose other places to go. But yeah, Africa is there for me. It's
yes.
all be
So
all.
I have to ask you this too. Martinique, are you named after the island?
Yeah.
Okay, I was like, I just had
It's
to.
only fitting. It's only fitting. I'm like,
It's
okay, my
totally.
parents knew what they were doing. So yeah, it's no coincidence that I feel the way that I do or that I am the way that I am because yes,
Okay,
the name.
so this may be TMI. I mean, so have you been there or were you conceived there? I mean, you know.
No, no. And I always say I want to go there for my honeymoon, right? But I don't speak any French. So I don't know. Whenever I'm supposed to get there, I will. And I did book I booked a solo trip there in 2019, and my uncle died a few days before I was supposed to go. So I couldn't
Mm.
make it. I was like, well, why did you try to go anyways when you say you want to go there for your honeymoon? Make your husband pay for that, you know? But I can't wait to go whenever I can go. Yeah, it is definitely another destination on my list, but I would love to go to Martinique, and when I'm supposed to be there, I'll be there.
Yes. Well, we can't wait to follow you on social to see the images that come from your experience in Martinique. Okay, so you know what? I feel like we have taken up a lot of your time on this travel and lifestyle conversation show. I want to remind everybody about your book real quick. And that is the ABC Travel Greenbook. Of course, I'm trying to bring up the font real quick so people know where to go buy it. Again, the ABC Travel Greenbook. There's the website, everyone. Go buy the book and just add to your travels, whether it's just domestic, local, international. This is a wonderful resource already, and I'm going to be hitting the road here soon. And I can't wait to take it with me. But any final words?
No, just thank
Martin?
you everybody for tuning in. I really, really appreciate it, and thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And like I always in my show with everyone watching, please travel safely, live intentionally, and cherish every moment, y'all. That is TLC. Marty, we love you. Thank you so
Thank
much. Get
you.
somewhere else. And before we go, there's a comment that came in. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you, William. And thank you for buying the book. All right, Marty. Thank you so much. And thank you all for watching. That's TLC. You guys have a great night.